the two of us will just be chatting for ages.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. Thanks everyone who has joined so far. I'm sure other people will join shortly. Thanks for coming this evening. I know for those of us in the UK, we have been unleashed or released this Friday. So I'm sure a lot of people are actually hanging out, which I can't blame them for. So welcome to Spark Sessions April. This is our second Spark Sessions event. Our first one happened in March. And we were talking about pursuing your passion. So we had some very interesting speakers there. This month, we have also some very amazing speakers. So I will let you both for now. One is AWOL, he will join soon. Introduce yourselves. So I'll start with Sally.
Okay. So yeah, I'm Sally. I run Limelight HR. I've been in business about 5 years now. And I support small, either startup or up to about 50 people, small businesses that are specifically ones in media and creative sector. So my background's working with media and creative businesses. So it's really just about trying to make HR a bit more fun, add a bit of personality, speak a bit more like a normal person, and try and create happy workplaces where people feel valued and do their best work, I suppose. So yeah, I've always been interested in media and creative and videos because of my background and the companies that I worked with. But also when I was very young, I wanted to be an actress. So I think the inner actress is desperate to get out on a video.
She's coming out. She's been coming out because one of the reasons, and for those of you that were here earlier when we were having our little pre-chat, one of the reasons why I thought Sally would be very good for this session is because she actually promotes her service, and she talks about HR, which is quite a serious topic, but she uses very engaging and very interesting videos. So please check her out on LinkedIn. Her videos are really, really engaging and really, really entertaining. So she uses that a lot. Aaron, over to you.
Yeah, so my name is Aaron Nelson. I'm a television producer and director. I've been working in TV for about 15 or 16 years at the minute. So I started off doing what we call entertainment shows, which is like celebrity-led, kind of very glitzy, glamorous, those type of shows. But about sort of 6 or 7 years ago, I moved into what we call more factual-based programming, which is essentially where we tell real people's stories and we put those on the television. So I'm fascinated by people, I'm fascinated by stories. And I think more and more TV, the lines is blurring between TV, traditional TV, and online. So for me, that ability to tell stories in a video can absolutely work in TV, or it can work online, or you can have a producer do it for you, or you can do it yourself. So my background, I've been creating videos, in all honesty, since I was 10 years old. So with the family camcorder, I was obsessed with video since I was 10, and I've managed to make a career out of it.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, guys, for joining. So for those who don't know who I am, my name is Sheon Oratukai. I'm the founder of Sparkfire Marketing. Sparkfire Marketing, we do a lot of things, but we are a marketing agency that provides marketing services to businesses. We also have a social impact mission, which is to empower and educate underserved youth and adults in marketing and creative services. So we provide training and also apprenticeship programs as well. I have a background in media, so Sally and I have something in common. We both used to work at Viacom. So I've worked with some very cool brands like Nickelodeon and MTV based in Africa. And then now I'm focusing fully on Sparkfire Marketing. So I thought we should start our discussion with a few stats, some very interesting stats about video. So some of us may know this in an abstract kind of way, but statistically, the average person will spend 100 minutes per day watching online video this year. And I think that also it's been driven very heavily by the pandemic. So video is not all about streaming. Video is also about our Zoom calls. So for instance, this webinar is a video. So it's about video meetings and different types of video formats. And this is now a new way of people to connect, especially because they were separated due to the pandemic. Another stat for you is that by 2022, 82% of global internet traffic will come from streaming videos and downloads. So a lot of people have moved online. And I'm originally from Nigeria, and even in the Nigerian space, which some people will call, which is still an emerging market in a lot of ways, streaming music and streaming videos is increasing in popularity because the mobile penetration is very, very high. Everybody has most people have a mobile phone in their hand. So a lot of people are consuming video content via mobile. A third of all online activity is spent watching videos, and people watch an average of 16 hours of video per week. And most people will prefer to watch online video content compared to television. My background is also in TV. Actually, that's something we all have in common, because our background is all in TV. I used to work in linear TV because the TV industry in Nigeria is very, very different. In that it's not as sophisticated as the TV industry here. So you don't really have tangible data. And one of the reasons why I moved to streaming, to an streaming video on demand company, was because we had tangible data and we could see how people were consuming our video content and actually tailor our content to our consumers. So I will not bore you. Last fact is that YouTube dominates social media videos. So if you're not on YouTube, you're behind the curve.
Right, I better write that down.
So yeah, YouTube dominates, followed by Netflix. No surprises there. So Demi has just joined. He's our third speaker, so I'll give him an opportunity to introduce himself shortly. And we shall fine him for being late to the party.
Find me.
Hi.
Hi, sorry I was late. I got held up. I'm really sorry about that.
In traffic.
Yeah, traffic on the internet. I was on another call just before this. So.
Hi, you missed my interesting stats, but we can connect on that later. So I'll just give you a couple of minutes to introduce yourself so that we can get into the conversation.
Okay, great. Oh, okay, yeah. Cool. No pressure. Hi guys. My name's Demi. I am a branding strategist and coach and podcaster. Overall creative. I specialize in helping creatives pursue their passion by giving them the tools they need to express themselves and basically get paid for it and stop looking down on themselves. And I'm just there to support creatives who are trying to kind of make a mark in the world around them. I have a podcast called the Unstuck Podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and your favorite podcast platforms. And I'm also on YouTube. So that's me.
And the great thing that Demlade does is that people would ordinarily think that your podcast is simply audio. But one of the things that he does, and he's actually been doing that for a few years now, is he creates video content out of his podcasts. So yes. Whenever he records a podcast, he always has a camera recording it so that it actually can translate well onto other platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.
Yeah.
So let's get straight into the conversation. So I'm just going to go around the room. So how has video, so today we're talking about the power of video, but I think that people would really like to hear what the results are. How has video worked for you, or how has video worked for you or your clients? Specifically for those of you that have clients. I will share my story shortly, but I'll let Aaron go first.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things recently that shocked me is, so I joined TikTok at the start of the year. Now, within 6 weeks of joining TikTok, my 30-day viewership was ranging between 900,000 and 1.2 million. Now, I wasn't on there for a business. I wasn't on there trying to sell anything. It wasn't a way of me trying to monetize it at all. But within 6 weeks, I was able to reach up to 1.2 million people in any 30-day period. And that's massive. If you think about that reach, that is huge. Now, this is on a platform that a lot of people still aren't using, that they're not thinking about. But up to 1.2 million people, if you think you can get your face in front of them quite easily within 6 weeks, that's huge. That's my most recent success with online video. And I mean, it shocked me because I didn't think it was going to be that easy to kind of essentially go viral on a video app, but it is. Yeah. If you know how to communicate, that's the thing. So with video, you need to really understand how to communicate on video because it is a skill. It is something you need to learn to do. And once you master that, the potential of it is huge.
Yeah, and it's all about also knowing your audience, right? In terms of what language they can relate to, what kind of content they want to see as well. Speaking as well.
Exactly. And it's that age-old thing that everyone says you need to find a niche. And I know it's so boring hearing people say that time and time again. But it's so true. You know, I started, as I say, I kind of was on the app to find out what the app was. And as soon as I started to refine down and find themes to make videos on, that's when a few of my videos exploded and I'd be getting like 250,000 viewers on it. And then once those viewers start following you and you make another video on the same theme, or once the algorithm knows that you're doing videos on a certain theme, it sends it out to all of those people. So you absolutely do have to find your niche. And I guess in business, you know, you just stick within the parameters of your business to reach those people that's relevant to you.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Demi, how has video worked for you and your clients?
Well, for me, it's been an interesting experience because I've had to get into the swing of things when it comes to video, because my primary content is my podcast, so it's audio form. But I've always tried to put video up, whether it's on YouTube or sometimes on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. So I do agree with Aaron here that you need to find a niche. It's what they would resonate with and what they will connect with. Like, for example, you mentioned TikTok as well. The audience, primarily, we would assume, is a very young audience, and it's very that kind of quick kind of information. But if your audience are more kind of detailed, the characteristics, they like to dive deep into something, maybe YouTube might be the best kind of format for them. So for me, I've tried to explore different things. For me, I'm personally trying to make it easier for myself to create video content as well. I always used to tell myself that, you know, I don't like being on camera and, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But I just have to get over myself. Just be like, it's like, I'm looking at the camera and I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this. But you have to get used to it.
And I tell them, I say, you need to do Instagram Live. I would like you, not you need to, I would like you to do Instagram Live. Yeah. And they start to freak out.
Yeah, they do. And I was freaking out when I first did my first Instagram Live, because I did some whiteboard sessions where I literally had a whiteboard behind me and I was talking about branding, and it was a series. It was like a 4-week series or something like that, and I spoke about branding from like the foundations of branding, and people really they got value out of it, you know. So it's about asking yourself, what would my audience find valuable? Do you want them to be entertained? Do you want them to be educated? Those are the two primary things I feel you have to keep in mind with video. Yeah.
Thank you. Sally, how has video worked for you?
So I mean, I feel like a bit of an amateur here on the whole video front, but I suppose I'm talking to the people who are like me that wouldn't normally do video or wouldn't feel comfortable with it. And also it's about making that connection between what you think video can support in terms of a business and who it suits, and actually how you can use video in any industry or any type of business that you're trying to promote. So the fact that I'm HR, which has certain connotations with it, I suppose through the pandemic, we saw a lot of people doing posts about furlough. There's a lot of teaching with video, which is great. But I suppose I got into TikTok because I was bored in the pandemic and needed a bit of an outlet. unlike Aaron, I didn't move very quickly on it. I had about 200 followers for about 6 months. And then one of them just blew up. I got 2.7 million views on one of them. And I was just like, wow. And that's when I realized, gosh, you can really have an impact. So I now have 2 accounts. I have my personal account and I have my business account. So I can try and separate it a little bit. But what I found, what really made the difference for me and my business was that the TikTok I was doing for fun, but when I used it on, and like you said, Demi, it's a lot of young people. That's not necessarily the people that I'm trying to get in front of for my business. But when I started using it then on Instagram and LinkedIn, specifically LinkedIn, because it was so kind of unseen to have TikTok on LinkedIn, because everybody goes, this is a professional platform and this is how you're supposed to behave. And I felt an element of that as a business owner. I'm thinking, oh, is it okay to do this? Is it okay to have fun and put that version of me out there? And that was the best thing about it. I am now more me in all of my business social medias because I've allowed those videos to go out there. That's me having fun. And if I'm saying my business is about having fun and I do HR differently, well, then shouldn't my videos reflect that? And that's where I then stand out from the other HR people. So it's just a really great way to say, instead of writing what your niche is or trying to say to people, I'm different from the other people that do what I do, you can put a video out there and it says it all. And what I found then was people were getting in touch with me who were down in London, who were saying, I think I've just seen you on a TikTok, my friend forwarded to me. And people were going to networking meetings, you know, obviously because everything was on Zoom, they were going to Zoom networks with hundreds of people on, where somebody would start saying, oh, there's this HR person, Sally, who uses TikTok really well. And so my name's being used amongst all these people that I don't know. And I started being known as sort of TikTok Sally and farting carrot Sally. And so it's been a great way for me to just engage more with the type of client that I would want to be with and get my personality across, I think.
Exactly. And I think that you make video your own, really, don't you? Because there are other HR people who would do very serious educational videos, you know, but then you also have to find your own voice, communicate that voice, connect to the right people. So, and that's what made you stand out to me as well, because, you know, I'm on LinkedIn every day as a business person, and, you know, I'll just see Sally's video. I'm like, yes, it's giving me life today, you know.
The first TikTok I put out on LinkedIn, I was in a dressing gown with my hair up in a towel, holding a glass of gin, and I was swearing. And it was literally, I thought the world is full of crap right now. And everybody could go on LinkedIn and read more crap. And I'm just going to put something out there that nobody's expecting, that is just to lighten the day a little bit. And that's where people just reacted so well. And I went, this is what I'm doing going forward. I'm like brightening and lightening. Everybody else can do the stuff that brings you down a bit. And I can do that when it's necessary behind the scenes.
That's amazing. I think one thing that's also coming through is the fact that you make a TikTok video does not necessarily mean that it only has to live on TikTok. So there are so many platforms that you can utilize. You just adjust the content to fit each of those platforms and give you that reach. And the other thing is that people buy into you. And I'm very big on this because people buy into who you are. There is, you know, nobody wants this anonymous brand out there anymore. People want to know who you are, how you can best help them solve their problems. And if there isn't that connection, I think Aaron and I were talking about this initially when we first spoke about how, you know, people buy into people. And there is no better tool to connect with people than video. But there are different ways that you can actually use video as a tool, especially if you're camera shy, because there are a lot of people who are camera shy. But it's important that you overcome your camera shyness. What I did, you know, being in the lockdown as well, for me, I started on my platforms, I started putting out more video, and I was just talking about things that I know. So content, the other thing about it is that content is all around us. And I talk more about my experiences. So if I'm having a tough time at work, I'll talk about it on Instagram. It also gave me an excuse working from home means that I felt like a bum. I'll be very, very honest, being in a sweatshirt and joggers all day after, having quite an active social life, not putting makeup on or anything like that. I thought, you know what, if one motivation for me to get dressed up in the morning is to make a 2-minute video, then yes. And I started to enjoy it because I was like, okay, so my motivation is to get my hair done, put on a nice outfit just because I needed to make that video. And a lot of people saw value in those videos because I share a lot about my journey. What am I experiencing as an entrepreneur? Because it's actually quite a lonely and very, very stressful road to walk. So yeah, video has been very effective. I've also worked with a lot of clients who you would think that the video wouldn't necessarily work for them in the way that they utilize the platform. And we're just actually having a discussion about it now. But video is something that actually cuts across different industries. So it doesn't matter whether you are a media personality, it doesn't matter whether you are an HR person in finance, in real estate, or any other industry. Video is one tool that actually can help you connect better with your audience.
Yeah, I just want to quickly say, I think probably, Sally, with your TikToks, the reason that they worked so well from what you've said is you probably made your audience feel something. So you made them feel happy. And that's the power of video, is you can make your viewers feel an emotion. It doesn't matter what that emotion is, but they will relate to you as an individual, and they will start relating to your business if you make them feel an emotion. It sounds like that's exactly what Sally did with your TikToks, and why they worked so well on LinkedIn, because all the other videos probably didn't make people feel anything, but yours did.
Exactly, yeah. It's about cutting through the clutter, as well. The next question I have is, what are the common preconceptions that you come across or that we can kill on this call about video? I think I'll start with this one. I have a client who video is a very, very big component to her, part of her business. She's a trainer. And so she creates training videos and so on. And she got a quote from a production company who quoted her a massive, a very, very huge amount of money to create a series of training videos. And we had a conversation afterwards, and we're like, why invest so much by outsourcing your production to a massive production company when you have a phone, you have ring lights, you have mics, you can actually produce video yourself. So, and I also spoke to another client who we said, we need more videos from you for your social media. And she got a little bit panicked about the process. And we said, just you have a camera in your hand, you have a phone. And now she has a series called Car Chats. So every Friday, she sits in her car before she goes to work. She's a doctor. Before she goes to work, she films like a 2-minute video about maybe a recap of the week or some advice or some tips. 2 minutes, no major editing. She shoots it on her video, on her phone, sends it to us, and we post it. So what are some of the preconceptions about producing video content that we can kill today? I'll start with Aaron, because Aaron is the TV guy.
Okay. I totally agree. I think people think it's expensive to do it, and it's absolutely not. I think, as you say, as long as you've got a smartphone, not only can you film something, you can edit it, you can upload it. You've literally got a production company in your hand. People also think it takes a lot of time to create videos, and it doesn't. They think, oh, it's much quicker. We're all so busy. No one's got spare time in their hands. People think it's much easier to take a photo and upload it. But if you actually think about the amount of time that you think about no one takes one photo and uploads it. Everyone takes 30, don't they? If you actually think about the time it takes for you to take that, write the caption, think about when you're going to upload it, you can actually create a video, like a one-shot video, that's going to have more impact in the same duration. So those are the two biggest things. Is I think financially, people think it's a big investment, and also they think it's a big time investment, and it's just not. You can do it really, I don't want to say cheaply, but you can do it certainly on a budget, and you can do it very, very quickly.
Yeah. Sally, what kind of tools do you use for your videos?
Just my phone, and then I got very excited when I got my first ring light, my tripod and my ring light, and then I felt like a professional. Yeah, and that's all it is. Really easy. And I think that's, for me, it's the people shouldn't be held back by feeling that they need to be professional about it in some way. Getting something out is better than nothing, and the more you do, the more you learn about what would make it look better or what would make it more effective. But until you start doing it, you could watch loads of training videos and you could read loads of things about it, but just getting out there and doing it and not worrying about things not being quite right. In fact, some people even like that because it makes them feel better watching it, because they don't feel like they're watching something polished. They're seeing the real you, and it's easier for them to connect with you, I suppose. And then you can just learn along the way and get better, because getting something out there is better than nothing.
True. Very, very true. Demi, what has your video experience been? You've been doing it for a long time. Was there a difference between when you started doing it before and now?
Yeah. That's the thing, that you would have heard a loud bang just now. It's because I was trying to get my equipment to show you what my setup is. Yeah, basically I was grabbing my DSLR, but one of my arm mounts fell off. I tried to style that out, but I try to make life a lot easier for myself. And my experience is that I know myself. I know what I like, how I work. And I think that's one of the best pieces of advice I can give to someone. If you can't bother to do that whole production kind of stuff, don't bother. Just use your phone. It doesn't have to be clean. Like, there's a lot of entertaining stuff online that I watch and it's not even clean. It's entertaining because it's not clean, you know. But for me, I like to optimize my time, which is why I do a vodcast as well as a podcast. You see what I mean? But my equipment, I know that I like to invest in things that will make my life easier. So I literally have my SLR plugged to the left of my screen, so that whenever I'm recording with this mic, I'm literally recording my podcast at the same time. And obviously I have, okay, I'll show you. That's my light right there. And my camera normally goes there. And I just leave it there, so that whenever I'm recording my podcast, I just need to press a switch and record. It's a little slightly more convoluted than that because of my camera, but if you have a decent vlogging camera, you just press a record button while you're recording your podcast, and you've killed two birds with one stone, you know. So for me, my experience is that when I've tried to do things separately, it hasn't worked for me, because A, I don't have the time to be editing two separate pieces of content, and B, like, I just like to keep things easy, otherwise I get really put off. So once you get into the flow of things, the flow of editing, and if you don't want to edit it, just hire someone to do it. Like, you don't have to do, if you're looking for that kind of clean cut kind of thing anyway. But there's nothing wrong with you just doing the basic stuff, just at least to start, because you're going to evolve as time goes on. So that's been my experience. I've just evolved as time gone on, because I started it, then I stopped for a long time, then I started it, then I stopped, and now I'm a lot more consistent because I have a system in place. And that really helps people like me.
Yeah, I'm very big on systems as well. But for me, the simplest route, not in the sense that I would cut corners or anything like that. It's just that because we're all busy, the easiest thing for you is what will work, you know. And unless you start pushing out that content, you won't really know, you won't learn anything. So you won't really move forward because you haven't even started, you know. Thanks very much, guys. So for everyone on the call, please, if you have questions, please pop them into the chat. We will answer them, but we'll have a Q&A session very soon. But please feel free to pop your questions into the chat as well. So the next point is advice for the camera shy. So a lot of people are very camera shy. And like I told you earlier, like I've had a lot of clients freak out when I said, I would really like you to appear. I need your face, you know. So how did you overcome that nervousness? And, you know, with Sally as well, I know that you said that you were, you did it initially because you were bored. But did you have those thoughts of what would people think? You know, how do I style my video? All of those kinds of thoughts. How did you deal with that?
Funnily enough, that got worse when I got the 2.7 million views, because I suddenly became really self-conscious and went, oh. And what had been good about it before was that I was just doing it for fun. I was just doing what I wanted to do. And I think that's what you've got to try and stick with, because at the end of the day, you've got to enjoy it. It's your life, it's your time. You've got to get something out of it as well. So I think as much as you want to be conscious of your audience and what you're trying to achieve, you've got to be doing it for the right reasons for yourself and enjoy doing it. So stick with that. Whether people like it or not, you will find your audience then, I think, and it will grow from there. And I think another thing is doing lives. I think sometimes when you force yourself into doing a live, you've just got to get on and do it. And once you've started, you just, the kind of relief at just having got that first one done. And also hardly any people, well, in my world, I'm sure people that are better at doing it get big audiences when they do it, but I've done some lives where nobody really watches it as you're doing it, and so it's not really that bad. You're just getting on with it, and then because you've jump that hurdle, that encourages you to take the next step and the next step, especially if you're in a private group, maybe, so you know that the live won't be seen by anybody outside of that group and it's kind of a safe space. That's another way to do it. So just little things like that you can kind of go, that's a small win, and now I'll go for the next step, is one way to get around it.
It really is about the small wins, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know some people who have done some lives and they're like, well, nobody's on my live, or maybe there's one person, but I'll just do it anyway.
Yeah. That's the best thing. Don't care about them. Just get your confidence up. Eventually people will be watching. Yeah,
exactly. Demi, how did you manage? Did you ever suffer camera shyness, and how did you navigate that?
You just have to get over yourself. That's the best advice I can give someone. Just get over yourself and put the camera on. Like you're not. So what if you're camera shy? So what if you're awkward? Embrace the awkwardness and be awkward on camera. Like it's more entertaining anyway. So like just be awkward, be yourself. You don't have to be this clean, this like professional person all the time. People will buy into you as a person. Like that's what they buy into. Just as much as they buy into the content that you're producing. So if you feel like you're camera shy, lean into your awkward qualities. Like
that's what makes you, isn't it?
Sorry?
That's what makes you.
That's what makes you. It's like if you're weird, yes, fine. It's better than not. I'd rather be weird than not weird. And I embrace my weirdness. I do some weird stuff. If you ever watch my YouTube videos, like my phone started talking to me during my last recording, and I was just like, shut up. And I kept it in the recording because it was entertaining. So, and it's just be yourself and put the camera on, and you'll get used to it. So like I heard that someone like Janet Jackson herself, she has social anxiety, but she gets on the camera. So
and on stage.
On stage and everything. So everyone has their quirks. You just have to kind of work with that quirk. Don't try and get rid of it. I think you just need to embrace it, I think.
I realized that when I was making videos, I have a tendency when I speak to say, and I the first set of videos I did lots of versions of the video, but then I thought, this is actually part of me. So anybody that doesn't like it shouldn't watch my video at the end of the day. And then I have a tendency to say hello at the beginning and okay, bye at the end. I thought, well, that's just who I am. You know what I mean? Aaron, so for somebody who has always worked, behind the camera and then going, switching sides? How have you managed the camera shyness?
I think, that point you just hit the nail on the head. For me, it was so odd because I do literally spend my entire life dressed in black telling someone else what to say. So when I was like, hold on a minute, I'm going to give this a bit of a go and see kind of what happens, it was very, very strange. My two biggest tips, I think, is if you're worried, if you're uncomfortable, if you're feeling a bit shy, you need to know your content. Every single video needs to have a reason. So just literally take a minute before you post something and think, what is the central message behind this? Why am I doing it? Because as soon as you know what your content is, and as soon as you know what you're talking about, your confidence increases. Yeah. Just take a deep breath and do it. Now, my other big piece of advice is most people will say, oh, I might record a few videos just to see how I feel about it. Oh, and I might upload them. Most people's fear about being on video isn't the actual recording stage. It's people seeing it. It's the thought that someone's going to see it and make a judgment on you, like behind your back, whether it be a good judgment or whether it be a bad judgment. That's something that's outside of your control. So my other big tip is when you record your first video, you have to upload that first video because you need to start breaking through that fear that people are going to see it. So even though you might think it's rubbish, if you record it, you have to upload it because eventually that's what starts breaking away. As you start getting positive responses for your videos, that's what gives you then the confidence to carry on and keep doing it. So my two biggest things is know your content, know what you're doing, and make sure you're uploading, not just recording, make sure you're uploading.
Yes,
fantastic. That's a really good point on doing the uploading the first video. It's a great story as well, and it's a great way to engage people because you can say, this is my first video, I'm so nervous, I'm so scared, like I'm happy to get any feedback, and everyone just rushes in to encourage you. It's a great way to do it. Face your fear, tell people that you're afraid, and do it anyway.
What are too? So many people are making videos and putting themselves out there these days as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say, going back to that point that I made earlier about Sally's video probably making people feel something. If you're vulnerable on camera, that is one of the most powerful emotions you can share with people. And as the TV producer, doing documentaries, doing factual content, I am constantly trying to get people to open up and become vulnerable on camera. So if it's your first video and you feel vulnerable and you feel out there, as Sally said, people are going to relate to that and they're going to go on that journey as your confidence grows. So it's going back to that thing of show emotion, make your viewers feel an emotion. And if you're vulnerable, they will feel something for you and they will start buying into you.
Yeah, you're very right there. Even with regards to content in general, more recently I've been posting, in addition to the videos, I also post kind of long form and short form content on my Facebook and so on. And I find that people relate better when they see me, when there's a face. I find that pictures, photos and videos, especially photos of people, actually connect better. Very quickly people are commenting and they are liking, and I find a lot more engagement there. And lots of people, you'd be surprised that a lot of people are going through the same emotions and going through the same experiences. Like I posted something on Facebook yesterday about, I think it was about delegation. Because, as a business owner, you wear many hats. You're like the one person, you're the chief everything officer. You're doing everything, and so many people can connect with that. So I think it's also about speaking your truth and documenting your journey, because really somebody else would benefit from hearing your story as well. So why hold back? You have a lot to give, so why hold back in that sense? But then also from my own point of view, in my own experience as well, if you are camera shy, there are also different ways to post video. So there are lots of platforms now that you can use to convert audio to video, even without seeing your face. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called
audiogram
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of different tools that you can use online. After this, we'll send an email out with some links to some tools. But there's some tools that you can use. So some people might be familiar with like those Instagram posts that it's a static image, but then you've got like a sound wave.
Yeah.
Going. So those are different ways that you can actually use video. So there are lots of different formats that you can use as well. I think we should go to some questions. There's some quite interesting questions. So Kike has a question. One was for your viral videos, what worked and were you able to replicate the success with subsequent videos? So that's a question for Aaron and Sally. I have not had a viral video.
Neither
yet.
have I, so this is a learning moment for me.
So again, I've got to let Sally, because I can't compete with 2.8 million. That is that for one video, that's huge. So Sally, it's over to you to begin with.
And that was without influencers, that's totally organic.
Yeah.
That's one point to note too.
Oh gosh, I wish I could tell you there was a really straightforward answer. If I feel like it was a fluke. I suppose one thing you could say is the more you do, the more chance there is of having that. With TikTok, there is an element if you just get something at the point at which it's becoming popular and you do your version of it, you can kind of ride the wave of what's getting interaction then. And I was just very lucky that that's what happened. There was one as well that did well, not viral so much, but for LinkedIn in comparison to the rest of my posts, I think it had, I can't remember, I don't want to over egg it. It was something like, it was either 20,000 or 40,000, I can't remember, something like that, for a TikTok that I put on LinkedIn that wasn't as popular on TikTok. But it really resonated with HR people. Like it was a really short video, but it literally summed up how HR people feel. And it just went, it's if you can take those things in life that everybody, a bit like a comedian, I suppose, you can take something in life that everybody experiences, but don't necessarily talk about. And then you find a way to sum it up in a video just like that. And everyone's like, yes, this is what it is. I think that's a good way, but yeah, sadly I can't give any great tips on how to make it go viral.
What was the video about? Was it the gin video? Which one was it?
It was actually misheard lyrics. So it was me singing or mouthing. I do mostly lip syncing stuff, so it was lip syncing to misheard lyrics. And the last one, it sounded like she was saying, I'm farting carrots. So I was literally dropping carrots between my legs. I mean, it sounds ridiculous. But I was interviewed on BBC York Radio a couple of weeks ago, and the guy didn't know who I was. It was part of the show that he just gets chatting to you and finds out about you. And we got onto TikTok, and I said that I'd had this one that had 2.7 million views. And he said, oh, who are you? I'll have to follow you. And I said, Limelight Sally. And he went, hang on a minute. I've seen that video. I was like, this is brilliant. Farting carrot stands out, you know? So it's the luck of the draw sometimes, I think.
It's the luck of the draw, isn't it? Really? And it has nothing to do with HR, guys. So I was having a conversation with a client today because they're using a lot of video. And, you know, we're talking about like video strategy for next month and so on, because video is working really well for them. They're in real estate. And we were talking about just posting. So it's about knowing your audience. It's back to that, you know, discussion about knowing your audience and then also understanding what matters to your audience as well. And it may be totally unrelated to what you're selling, you know. Mm-hmm. So in Sally's case, it's humor. Humor is a universal language, like almost like football. In Nigeria, humor sells. So if you look at like the most popular YouTubers in Nigeria, they're all selling humor for the most part. Now, lifestyle, business, all those kinds of influencers are starting to you know, come up. But I'll tell you, in the Nigerian context, when it comes to YouTube, anybody in comedy is, and that's slapstick comedy, Because, you know, from the environment that we're in Nigeria, lots of people are looking for ways to just forget their worries and laugh. And those are the people that actually make the most impact, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it's about tapping into the emotion as well. Another question from Julia. Julia is an amazing producer, by the way. I wish I had her on this panel. We are going to do the power of video 2.0. Julia is awesome. We work together a lot on like video content. Her question is, how do you separate your fun personality from the business that is supposed to be serious? If, for example, she wanted to start a YouTube channel and she runs a production company, how does she successfully separate the two things? And I think we just touched on that, really. It's about knowing your audience, isn't it?
Yeah, but also I would say don't separate your fun personality.
I wouldn't
don't
separate
them.
Just don't. People buy into who you are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you need to merge them. You need to combine them. Don't have a boring business one and a really fun personal one. Combine those two things together.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would agree with that, actually. Because
it's exhausting to be a version of what you think you should be. It's tiring. You've got to fully embrace yourself and just throw it into everything, and let people have it and choose whether they want to engage with it or not.
And people can see it.
Everything to everybody.
Like if you're not being yourself, everyone can see it as well. So
that's true.
Like you might as well just be yourself and let that sell what you're giving, rather than trying to pretend you're just something that you're not, because that's not authentic. And if there's anything that gives you a bad reputation with social media and video, it's been inauthentic.
True. Tia has a question. Did you find it was easier to go viral organically? Okay, I think we've touched on this already. Her question is, did you find it easier to go viral organically or when you're aiming to make a viral video? It's never worked for me in my experience with marketing. In my experience, I've achieved virality, but it's always been orchestrated. There's always like a whole back end. It's never been organic in my world as a marketer. For Sally, you had just touched on how you just posted a video.
Yeah, that was, and I spoke to somebody else today who she said one of the videos she created, she was so proud of it. It was the best she had done yet. She was so happy with it, and it got practically no engagement. It got the lowest engagement of all the videos she put out. And I've been there, and it's embarrassing a little bit, because you go, oh, but loads of people watched that one and now nobody's interested. Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason, and you've just got to be okay with that.
Yeah,
like you've got to be okay with that. It doesn't matter whether they're all, just go for it and be proud of what you've done.
Yes, and one thing I'm learning too is releasing the outcome. So you have to really let go of the outcome and just do you with the best intentions, and just leave it. So irrespective of whether you go viral or whether it's not really supposed to be a popularity contest, because I feel like that also has the potential to actually affect you mentally as well. So a couple of weeks ago, I've been doing a lot more what they call organic posts on Facebook. And for some reason, and I don't know what happened, I got my very first ban from Facebook for 6 days or a week. And I don't post any, I'm not spammy or any, I'm very careful. But the rejection, I was very surprised. And I've told a lot of people about this. The rejection I felt, it took me back. So I'd made a lot of progress, but it was like I've taken 2 steps forward and then I took like 10 steps back. It took a very long time for me to compose myself. Social media I've never experienced anything like that before. So the important thing that I've learned, if I've learned anything from that experience, is to just let go of the outcome. Put out your best self, put your best foot forward, do what you can, and just leave it. Stop checking for the likes and for the posts and for, because then you're trying too hard.
Yeah.
And you'll be disappointed.
Yeah, I'd always say like never produce something and think I want to get 10,000 views in this, because you just absolutely will not get those 10,000 views. But in terms of riding the wave of success, one of my little tricks is to make everything into a series. So if you're posting a video and it's part one, make sure you've got that part one on the video. So if it does blow up and it goes successful, you've got an excuse to make part 2 and 3, and the audience will know that there's part 2 and 3 to come. But if the video absolutely dies and no one watches it, well, you don't have to create part 2 and 3. So if you do want a little trick, I would say turn everything into a potential series. So if it explodes and if it blows up, people are likely to follow you in order to see part 2 and 3, at which point you can then think, how do I move that forward? How do I recreate it? How do I do it again? So that would be my one little trick when it comes to trying to ride the wave of a post organically exploding, because you cannot second guess what's going to explode and what doesn't.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
a great tip.
That's fantastic. And I think that's the TV. So is it almost like that format of releasing a pilot? But
yeah, it's totally that. You need to see what hits. The number of TV pilots that I've done that I've thought, this is brilliant, we're going to go to full series, there's a series 2 in the pipeline, and you either show it to the network or you put it on TV for one episode and it completely bombs, and you're like, but I had so much fun doing it or whatever, and it just doesn't work. And there's been other shows that have been really, really difficult to create, that perhaps haven't been the most fun and the most exciting behind the scenes, but just work. And 3 series later, you're still making it and you're still doing it because people just love it. So you can never second guess whether it's a long form 60-minute TV or whether it's a 15-second TikTok. You can just never second guess what's going to work and what doesn't.
True. Yeah, very, very true. My next question is, or talking point is about, I think we've touched on content ideas already. Does anybody want to share more about content ideas? No? Okay. No.
No.
Does the platform actually matter? I think Demi touched on this earlier a little bit about how you have to tailor your content to different platforms. So it's not all about just making one video and thinking it's going to work on YouTube and then have the same impact on Instagram.
Yeah.
All the platforms are very, very different.
Yeah.
So what insights can you share? I'll start with Demi on for this one.
I think you just you have to put yourself in the shoes of the person using that platform. If I'm scrolling on TikTok, I love TikTok because it entertains me. And there are some educational posts, but like the weirdest stuff entertain me. Like at the moment, I'm obsessed with this guy who cleans swimming pools.
I love swimming pool guy.
Obsessed with that guy. It's so bizarre. He just shows you in like under a minute how he cleans the dirtiest of swimming pools and hot tubs. But it's entertaining.
How do they get that dirty?
Oh, I'm gonna send it to you. He does his whole process. I didn't know he had a Hoover that works underwater.
Oh wow!
Like, so it's that kind of like moment, like whoa, like what? So that's why that's why I use TikTok, for those like what moments, But if I'm on YouTube when I have time to watch something. If I'm on a break from work or I have some spare time, I would watch a long video. I use YouTube for long videos. I know YouTube has like its own form of stories on it as well, but I don't use YouTube primarily for that. And I know like all the apps, it can be a bit difficult at the moment because a lot of the apps are doing the same thing. Whatever is successful, Facebook steals it. So like, but the kings of those kind of contents tend to remain like that. So people still stay on TikTok because TikTok is more, to be honest, is better than Instagram Reels. But like, you put yourself in the shoes of that person that's using that platform. Ask yourself, why do I use this platform? And how can I tailor my content to it? But, for me, like going back to you, making your life easier, I primarily do long form content and I pick out the best bits of that content and tailor it to different platforms. So I'll have something that's under 30 seconds for Instagram Reels, and I'll have something that's maybe a minute long for like maybe Twitter or something like that. you know. So just kind of putting yourself in the shoes and asking yourself, okay, how can I give that person value?
Yeah, it's all about value at the end of the day,
Yeah.
really. It's like, where do you meet? What is the touch point?
Yeah.
What is the consumer, what is their intention on that channel?
Yeah.
So for instance, with LinkedIn, we know that we're talking to professionals, it's quite a professional platform. So how do you get your message across to that person who is already in that kind of professional mindset?
That's the funny thing about, sorry to jump in, that's the funny thing about LinkedIn as well, though, because LinkedIn is one of the most organic platforms you can use right now. It's very slept on at the moment because people are thinking, oh, it's business. Why would I be posting something entertaining on there? Well, because people are not expecting that kind of entertaining stuff, and then you put something that's different on LinkedIn. That's why people are like, oh my gosh, this is awesome.
It's a massive opportunity to stand out, and Sally is our case study.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
But that it's amazing. I mean, I never used to spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. Like, to me, LinkedIn was like an online CV.
Yeah.
You know, but it's very powerful, actually. So yeah, feel free on LinkedIn. I mean, I remember I was one of those people that used to say, why are these people? Some people used to treat LinkedIn like it's Facebook, you know?
Yeah.
But really, it's just a different platform. So there's no reason why. I was actually doing training recently that said that long form content does not perform as well on LinkedIn as video. So video is actually more effective on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And yeah, just be yourself. In terms of the platforms and do they matter? Does Aaron and Sally, do you have anything else to add to what Dimladi has said?
I think we were talking about a bit before this kind of, we got going on the conversation as to different people are on the different platforms. So if you want to get in front of a certain group of people, you need to be mindful of what platform you're on. But I think you really need to enjoy the platform as well.
Yeah.
There's kind of no point going on a platform because you think all your ideal customers or clients are on there. Because if you don't enjoy it, it comes across, and you need to be interacting with people. So it's finding the balance of the one that works, but also that you enjoy doing, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Aaron, does it matter what platform you're on?
I wouldn't say it matters. Again, just going back to, I think it's important to know what platform you're creating videos for before you do them. So again, don't just record a video and think, oh, that was good, I'll upload it. Like, you need to know where you are recording for before you do it. And that goes back to, to both what Demi and Sally have said, of you just need to know who's on that platform and how you, because again, you could essentially convey the exact same message on two different platforms, but you'd have to do it very, very differently. And again, that's going back to just start thinking about how you communicate on video. You can say the exact same thing, but you would just do it very differently on two different platforms.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sometimes I'll use the same video, but I'll write completely different text because it's a different platform. So it's the same video, but I'm giving it a slightly different meaning or talking about it in a slightly different way, so it works more on that platform.
Yeah, that's really clever to do that. It's like, if you were to do a promo for this webinar, you could absolutely include the time, and the date and the link within the video. That's your 3 main points that you're hitting, but you do it differently on LinkedIn to what you would do it on Facebook, but you're still including the same bits of information, but you would just do it differently. So know where you're producing for before you do it.
Exactly, yeah. And then one big thing that we also kind of mentioned earlier is repurposing your content as well. So for instance, for a webinar or a discussion such as this one, which is an hour long or so, you can actually cut the key points from these kinds of discussions and then put them out on your social media platforms, depending on what the duration, because they all have different guidelines, right? So if we're thinking about it from a very kind of operational point of view, ideally, you can cut like a 15-second video, a 30-second video, and then all the platforms. One thing that we shouldn't forget as well is that all the platforms are interconnected. So for instance, this long form video will go on YouTube because it lives, it can live on YouTube, and then I can post a shorter version of the video, like a 1-minute video or a 30-second video on Instagram, to say this is a sneak peek into, to tease this content and say, go and watch my YouTube channel. So all the channels should actually be working together and very, very holistically to drive each other, you know? So if I'm pushing my YouTube, I can use my Instagram, I can use Twitter, I can use Facebook, but all in a different way as well. So does anybody have any tools to recommend? We always do this. We always kind of recommend podcasts and books and everything for people to try. So do you have any tools that you can recommend that will help people navigate this video content world a bit better?
I've got a couple of tools because I love my gadgets and I love my apps. So I'm going to suggest an app. I mean a piece of software and some tip to do with your camera. So first off, there's if you have a podcast and you wanted to do video podcasts, there's something I use called Riverside FM, and let's say it's like Zoom but made primarily for podcasts. And what it does is that it records everything for you and keeps all your video files. Each person has a separate video file recorded and a separate audio file recorded, and it puts them all on the cloud. And you can share it with a video editor if you want them to edit the videos for you, or you just go into one section and it splices everything together for you. So if you look on my Instagram, my videos when I'm talking to someone, that's done with Riverside FM. And the way they're side by side, I didn't have to do any video editing. It was done by the account, by the website. And it's really good that you can have a chat on there as well and people can call in. It's really cool. And the other tip I have is if you want your video, if you're talking to someone, to be really high quality. At the moment, I'm using a webcam, but you can actually use your DSLR or camera as a webcam as well, just by using USB. Like for example, this I can plug this to my laptop through USB because there's some software that Canon and Sony have released. You just install it on your computer, plug your camera to your laptop, and there you go. You can use it as a webcam, and it's really high quality. So that those are my tips if you're a bit more techie.
And some of us don't have DSLRs, by the way. I'm just saying.
It's a good investment. I'm buying a new one this month.
I have your old one.
I'll think about that. I'll think about that.
I'm joking.
What?
Any editing, any other tools that anybody else can recommend?
The only thing I'd recommend, if you, and we're literally talking about 20 to 30 pounds here, is investing in some form of microphone. Like literally, again, I'm a big fan of just, you can do so much in your smartphone with all the free apps that's available and all of that. But the one thing I would say to people, if you want to start creating videos, is maybe think about getting a microphone that plugs straight into your phone. Because the one thing that will make people switch off incredibly quickly is if you've got bad audio. And part of really boring here, but audio reaches your brain quicker than visuals. So your brain processes audio first. So if you've got really bad audio, even before people have started taking in what they're saying, they're going to be thinking, I don't want to watch this. So just get a really relatively cheap microphone, less than 30 quid, that plugs into your phone. And that would be my top tip to suddenly start looking more professional.
Awesome. Thank you. I didn't know that. We always think that we're like visual beings. But so the sound really does affect how you perceive or how you make a decision. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's again, in TV, the most important thing is not what we shoot. It's good sound. Like in all honesty, we can do so many things with pictures. We could, but if the sound is rubbish, it cannot go on TV. And it's the exact same. If you're doing videos where you're speaking, you need to have good sound. So my tip would be just get some form of microphone that's going to increase the quality of sound that you have.
Awesome. That's a fantastic tip. My own tip about audio is I came across this tool called Wave. It's one of those tools that you can use to turn your audio content into video. So remember when I mentioned that you can actually create a post and it has a like a sound wave. So we're gonna send an email to everybody with all these tips and tools. So please don't worry. But it's called Wave, and it's actually quite cool to use as well. Sally, do you have any tips or tools that you can recommend?
I'm not very techy, so I have to keep it pretty basic. The only app that I have used is one called Video Leap, which I've just used for editing videos where I've not found that I've been able to edit them the way I want to on TikTok. I've done it on there and then posted them onto TikTok.
Okay, great. And I also have another editing tool I use. Some people, when I've mentioned this to them, they turn their noses up at it. Maybe it's because I'm just talking to people that use Adobe, fancy tools. But there's one that I use, and my daughter makes YouTube videos. She's please, I'm going to do a very shameless plug. Her YouTube channel is called Life on Earth. It's very cute. So please check it out. But she makes her own YouTube videos, and we use this tool called Filmora. And Filmora has like a desktop version, but it also has a mobile version, which is called Filmora Go. And it allows you to quickly edit videos, put endboards, put sound, put graphics and everything very, very quickly. And then InShots, which I've come across. I've never used it before, but InShots is actually really good, especially if you're editing from phone as well. Yeah, and there are lots of tips. So please, guys, if you have any questions, please, we're always available to answer your questions. So what has changed? So let's kind of combine these two because we're almost out of time, but what has changed from what we knew about video in the early days, and then what do we think is the future of video? What have we seen? Are there any trends that we need to be looking out for? I'll start with Aaron.
I think for me, the biggest change is just the actual demand for video. As we've all got, super fast broadband now, and the quality of video has increased, people's appetite for video has increased because it's more pleasurable to watch it. And I think that's only going to increase. I think I read a stat, something like 95% of people will retain more information from video than they will from text. I think compared to 10% of people who read text. So just 95. So video is just incredibly powerful to relay your message and your business's message and your narrative. You can make sure that people understand your narrative. So I think the demand for video has just increased hugely in the past kind of 3 to 5 years, and it's just going to continue exploding. I remember like 2011, 2012, when people started jumping on Instagram, and there were people who were on it going, oh yeah, I'm uploading photos of my food that I'm eating. And I was one of those people who was thinking, I don't want to be that self-obsessed person who's uploading photos and writing captions about my day. Cut to 5 years later, we were all doing it. Yeah. And I really do feel we're at that point with video where it's where we were at with Instagram 10 years ago. If you do it and you do it well, you will reap the rewards for years to come. Don't be one of those latecomers that wait for 5 years before you start doing it now.
Yeah. Start doing video now, guys. It's very important. The fact that you can even go on a Zoom call or a Google Meet, you're already doing video. You just embrace video, really. Sally, where do you see video going?
Honestly, I don't know, because I feel like I'm not really a specialist in that area, but just from what I've seen happening, I just think it's going to be one of those things where even if you think you've seen everything it can do, you haven't. So be conscious that it's going to keep changing and it's going to keep adapting, and the way people use video is going to keep changing. So stay on top of that and be ready to change with it and try things as soon as they happen. A bit like Aaron was saying, if you're the first in there, you can be learning before everybody else has jumped on board. And then by the time everybody else has jumped on board, you've got really good at it. So just keep an eye out for what's happening. And if you spot something that looks like an exciting thing, find out about it and start trying it.
Yeah, that's great advice. I listened to there's a podcast I listened to. I'll actually share it in the email as well. Fantastic 5-minute tips on marketing. And one of the things they were talking about was how some YouTubers have achieved massive growth. And for instance, with TikTok, the kind of growth that they saw early on, because they jumped on the trend very, very early. Anybody that tries to jump on it now is not going to see that level of growth. So it's very important to actually jump on those new platforms very quickly, because it's a very effective way to get organic traffic and build up your following and become an influencer. Maybe not like the Logan Pauls of this world, but in our own way. Demi?
I think it's all about looking at what's kind of the trend tends to be young, I say young people.
Yeah, but not that
yes,
young.
Young people like us.
Those
Basically, whatever the teenagers pick up is the next big thing, and before marketers ruin it. So and Facebook steals it. Whatever, that's the rule of thumb. Whatever the teenagers do, it's really fun. Facebook will steal it and try and market it. So I think just keep that in mind. TikTok at the moment is really big at the moment, but there will be something else, because eventually when it becomes when there's too many people on it, people are going to move on to something else.
Yeah, I get all the "oh no, your mum's on TikTok" kind of
Yeah.
comments. I'm literally ruining it for all the people that say
it's for moms, it's for middle-aged women who have nothing to do.
One thing that's actually that we haven't mentioned is Pinterest.
Okay, Pinterest, yeah, Pinterest is very
Pinterest
good.
does video as well.
Oh,
You can pin
true.
videos on Pinterest as well, and Pinterest
That's
is very
true.
good for traffic. So I would also keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Try that out.
Kiki just dropped a comment, and that's very, very true. Canva. There are a lot of amazing
Canva is
tools.
great.
Canva is very good for video.
Yeah.
And Canva is a very, very good tool that you can use to convert pictures to video. So you can actually animate your Canva images to video. Thank you very much for that, Kike. We left Canva out. How could we? It's like one of my favorite platforms. It makes my life super easy. I'm sure it makes everybody's life very easy. And there was one last question. I think it was a very good question that Tia had. And please, guys, this last call for questions, because we've gone over time. Tia's question is, how do you navigate monetization? So for instance, a lot of people get their videos taken down because of community guidelines. So in relation to Sally's video, where you said that you were drinking gin and swearing, were you selective about which platform you posted that video on? Did you get banned from any platform?
no, I threw it on LinkedIn.
You put it on LinkedIn?
I put it on LinkedIn because I thought that's me. I mean, I don't want to be known as a potty mouth, don't get me wrong, you know, but I think a well-placed F word sometimes helps your message. So I think it's just about how you use something. Find a way to make it okay in whatever platform. I suppose you do need to be aware of the rules, but sometimes it's worth breaking a few. So
sometimes it's so confusing what the rules actually are.
Yeah.
Because they update the rules all the time. And some content, if you spend enough time online, you will see that some people have a way of bypassing these rules. And then when you do the same thing, you're banned for 6 days, like me. Oh, I didn't do the same thing. I was not like posting comments in people's posts about how some man had helped me earn $500,000 just by sending him a WhatsApp message, for example. So, anyway, do we have any other questions? Guys, the questions have been really, really cool. Thank you very, very much. If you have any other questions, drop them as well, or any advice or any recommendations. Any final, that sounds very morbid, but any final words, not final words, like a last
closing thoughts.
Final thought from our speakers. I'll start with Sally this time.
I suppose just sometimes I found I get really busy with doing loads of stuff, and I've especially recently I haven't done a lot of videos, and it's discussions like this that remind me that actually the videos are probably the most fun bit of all of the marketing. and just use it to have fun. Like, that's what we've got to do. We spend too much time thinking about all the stressful bits of work and life, and use video, have fun with it, use it to interact with people. You get so much more engagement. Like Aaron said, it brings out emotions and feelings in people. So just go for it, do it as much as you can and enjoy it.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. Demi, any final thought? Your final thought?
Your first video will be crap. So just accept it and do it. Like,
my first video was not crap. I don't think my first video anyway. I'm just joking. But yeah.
Well, if it's not crap, then great.
Right?
Huh?
Depends on what your standards and what your metrics
Depends
are.
what your standards are, but just assume that it's going to be crap and do it anyway. If you look at the biggest YouTubers, something that's really fun, go back to their first video and watch their first video that they ever uploaded. They're horrendous. They are bad. So like, yeah, you're the first of anything is probably just going to be crap. So just do it anyway.
Do it, learn, and optimize.
Yeah.
Aaron, final thoughts?
I think my final thought is kind of just what I said before, of just do it. And, literally, if you're watching this conversation, go, like, in the next 24 hours, post their video, no matter how daunting that it feels. And also,
share it with us. We'll like it. We'll share it.
Yeah, exactly. And also, with filming, with anything, and people are like, I don't want to be on camera, I find it a bit weird looking into a lens. What you need to realize, that is essentially just a window to a person. So it's not that you're talking to a camera, you are literally talking, and don't even think about multiple people. You are talking to one person at the other side of that piece of glass. So just talk to them like you normally would anyone else, and you will start to feel more comfortable, and you will start to see results.
Amazing. Thank you, Aaron. And I think there's also an additional thing that I'd like to point out, Aaron, is you have a masterclass or a course or...
Yeah, so I'm starting. So last year, when everyone's business ended up going online, like, again, we were talking about kind of organic growth or organic processes. A lot of my friends who have got businesses, literally, we were having casual conversations, and they were like, we don't know what we're going to do with our business. We don't know how we're going to relate to our customers. We don't know how we're going to relate to our clients. And I basically give them some advice, like just off the cuff. And they came back to me and said, that really worked. So it kind of sparked something for me. So I'm in the process of launching, I guess, a bit of a side hustle, or like a website called the Online Media Coach, that is teaching people how to produce better videos, professional videos, how to engage with viewers, literally just using your smartphone. So I've just started doing that this week, started the marketing this week. People are already showing interest. People are already kind of going back and going, thanks for that tip. I've just done it. So yeah, just on Instagram or something, just search for the Online Media Coach, because I really do think that video is the future. And again, for business, it absolutely will just help in every single way.
Amazing. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for everybody that has joined and everybody that's stayed on till the end. Thanks for joining. And this has got to be like my favorite Spark session so far, guys.
I've only done two. I'm not sure how good that is.
My fave.
I should have just taken the compliment.
It's my second favorite. My first favorite, and then the other one is now my second favorite. I really enjoyed it. I think there was a lot of value, a lot of very, very tangible tips for people. So for everybody that joined, thank you so much. You'll be receiving an email. You have the recording of this video, and video is the way to go. If you need any guidance, please touch base with us as well. There are a lot of people in our network as well that we can connect you to, and also some guidance and just advice and just support. There's nothing like community, is there really? Just support. So if you need a second eye on your videos, send it. We'll watch it for you as well. But please, in the next 24 hours, post a video and tag us, and we'll share. We'll give you some love online. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy your Friday. Is anybody going out?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not going.
Hopefully it doesn't rain, but yes.
Where are you going? I want to go out.
We'll arrange something.
Oh, not for today, obviously.
Not
Anyway,
today.
bye guys.
Thank you
It's
so
been
much for
Thank
having
you.
me.
having
Thanks.
you all. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining our Spark session. And for everybody else, thank you for joining. It's been an amazing session. Have an amazing weekend, and we'll see you soon.
Loved it. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.